All right, we got a shoulder day, September 25th workout breakdown here. This workout I chose mainly because this week doesn't have a ton of days that I feel are necessary in terms of structure and movement and just how to, the order of operations. The 26th is one of those days, which is Friday. This is a Thursday, the 25th. But I think there's enough in here to give some explanation, especially on a particular modality that I find very valuable to work on. The integrated control, the monthly emphasis. Obviously, I'm not going to go through this, but it's really cool. We finally gotten deep enough into this where we can start integrating, no pun intended, start working on incorporating more of like, not necessarily like a compound movement, but your ability to advance into something more forceful or generate some power. So it's kind of cool to put a couple of these together and start maybe seeing kind of like where we started with like kind of just the controlling of the foot and the toes and the bottom of your feet, all the way up, the kinetic chain from ankles, knees, and hips in generating or transitioning of force through that lower part of your body and those joints. So kind of cool. Still a little bit of control down there with the toe splay and stuff, but like I said in the beginning, like we were going to work our way and advance our way, up the kinetic chain through this monthly emphasis. So that'd be kind of cool. This is actually the second day of this 3-day block here, so you'll see this on the 24th as well. Now the actual workout. So you guys are going to have an opportunity to ski erg here. 1,500 total meters. It's block fire, meaning you're going to do it every single block 3 times. So each block begins with the 500-meter ski. It's not ridiculously far, like 1,500 meters in totality is nothing wild, but it should be enough, especially at the 500-meter kind of gold standard mark there, for you guys to walk out of here if you're not sure already, on a good 500-meter split time for yourself on an individual level. So at bare minimum, you guys walk out of here with 3 500-meter intervals. Again, kind of standalone intervals, which is kind of nice. And you should be able to walk out a little bit more enlightened on, stroke rates, split time, just kind of like where your happy place is in terms of pace. And, it also keeps the door open if you want to kind of go ham on the ski erg, and you can kind of see what, an 80% or a 70%, force or output looks like on a 500-meter ski. It's a good day for either of those two options. And either way, whatever you choose, you should be able to walk out of here with a better idea, your finger a little bit closer to, the appropriate paces for you, which is a big part of this game. It's just understanding, your body's abilities and what you can and can't handle, and just understanding certain thresholds. And the more lines we have in the sand, the more precise we can get over time. Now, the modality I was speaking of earlier is transitional. Transitional work and your ability to transition, I think, is very often overlooked. I don't know that that's necessarily the case in our gym. We hammer it pretty hard, and we've been hammering it for quite some time. But I think it's something you can always work on. You can't perfect it, and you can constantly get better at it. It's just your body's ability to, dissipate lactic, break it down a little bit faster, your ability to get your breathing under control, gain some level of composure while still moving. This block fire, paired with these AMRAPs, is the perfect opportunity to work on that, right? And, if we want to get nitty gritty, the difference between doing a 500 meters on the ski erg and taking 25 seconds to get into your first stride compared to 500 meter ski, you'd rack the handles, you're 4 steps away and you're up and you're in your first stride 12 seconds later, 8 seconds later, is a pretty significant difference in your body's ability and its efficiency to make that transition and change over modalities. That being said, the ski erg to the run, they're not even close. They're both aerobic or considered aerobic, but it's a lot different than like running and rowing and biking are all very similar in terms of the aerobic side of it and the nature of them, whereas a ski erg is so much upper body. The transition from the ski to the run shouldn't be overly challenging. If you're struggling maybe on your breathing pattern on the ski erg, I could see a lot of people struggling to catch their breath, especially if you're trying to get up into a run at a fairly aggressive pace. But I think most people, you should have the ability, once walking out of here, to know what it feels like to go from the ski erg to, like, say, a 60% run, and then maybe work your way up into a more aggressive run once you get your breathing back under control. But 200-meter run, 8 dumbbell push press. Again, I got the plus sign next to the weights, gold standard weights, 35 and 50s. Absolutely good opportunity to go up in weight here if you're somebody who's comfortable with that movement and wants to move a little bit more load. The second block, the run's going to descend. We're down to a 150-meter run. Again, obviously the ski erg is still there. 14 Renegade rows. Things are going to slow down a little bit here. Again, if you're watching this video, I hope when you guys come into this class, Renegade rows are not something that should be done under a time crunch. There's a lot of movements like that, pullovers, rollouts. Like, these are just not movements where pace should be one of the top priorities. Like, you guys want to slow down here, which is even more incentive on this particular block to either increase your output on the ski erg if you want to go that route, but definitely on the runs. Like, this run, you guys should be able to bump up the intensity knowing that there's a movement that we're not looking to blitz. Like, we don't want to fly through the Renegade rows. The whole point of a Renegade row is really that the row's secondary. The plank comes first. So you really need to set yourself up, stabilize through your shoulder girdle, make sure you have that posterior pelvic tilt so you guys' hips are tucked forward. And again, your plank is steady and it's being done correctly. And then you worry about the Renegade rows, which there is supposed to be some level of control on a Renegade roll, right? The point of coming up to 3 points of contact when you take an arm off the ground is to force some level of stability through your shoulder and your hips and your 3 points of contact in both feet and hand. That doesn't happen when people are just rip-roaring through Renegade rows. The right muscles don't even fire. You're just blitzing through 14 reps, completely out of control, not even focused on stability. So, keeping your shoulders neutral, keeping your hips neutral, taking your time, even incorporating a 1 or a 2 count pause at the top of each row, and ensuring that your plank stays intact is far more beneficial than you guys blitzing through this all haphazardly and moving in. You can also see that I still have the gold standard weights on the Renegade row, which is not a thing. Just to be clear, that'll be gone when you guys come into class. There are no gold standard weights on the Renegade row. The last block, there is gold standard weights. So you still got your 500-meter ski, of course. Now you're down into 100-meter runs and 12 alternating snatches. Two things. One, it's a 10-minute block instead of a 12-minute block like the prior 2 blocks. And number 2, probably more importantly, is the alternating snatches. Like, the alternating there on purpose. It's a skill. It's something you need to work on. Transitioning weight from one hand or to the other is something that requires repetition and practice. A lot of people will not alternate because it's just a lot simpler to do like 6 on one side in a row and then just switch and do 6 on the other. Like, I'm asking you guys to alternate, work on exchanging that weight across your body, whether it's on the ground or as you descend. If you are somebody that exchanges the weight as you descend, which is ideal, of course, you want to eventually work up to that. Make sure you're doing it below your chin. That's not something you want to do up and overhead. I still see people do that. It's terrifying. Anything goes wrong, you slip up, that thing's coming down right on your head. Not ideal. And same concept, 35, 50-pound gold standard weight, as you guys know. And the plus sign is there. If you want to go up and over, a perfect opportunity. There's no reason why you don't have, you have to be limited to these 35 or 50s. For those of you that can handle it, by all means, go for it. Other than that, I think this is going to be a good one, man. And again, if I can give you guys more tidbits, if there's any feedback you guys want, any more explanation on certain little things. Sometimes I struggle to pick certain workouts. The 26 was an easy one to pick, just so you know, foreshadowing. But some stuff like this, like, I hope, these are kind of the things you guys want to talk about. Otherwise, enjoy on the 25th.